Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you with another one. Um, the clip that I'm going to show you came out yesterday, I believe, about what's happening at the border and how Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, is handling business down there, regardless of what other people are saying. But before I continue, I just want to thank all my new subscribers and all my subscribers both on YouTube and on Rumble. So don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, give it a thumbs up. If you want to help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and PayPal and to my merch store, trueoutlawpatriot.com. Pick up a shirt. That'll definitely help out the channel. It's only the first design right now, but I'm working on the rest. But anyway, with that being said, the reason why I'm bringing this up is for a couple of reasons, and one of them is for the disinformation that a lot of the news media is putting out, and something that I find very disheartening, but is not surprising, which is a lot of content creators, I should say liberal content creators, are putting out just some nasty misinformation online and on platforms about what's going on at the border. I mean, they're just so damn cheeky, and if they think that they're doing anybody a favor, they're actually not. They're actually hurting the situation even more. But without further ado, let's play this clip here so we can see what's going on at the border and with the governor. Here we go.
Abbott writing on social media today, cartels are learning not to mess with Texas amid Operation Lone Star, highlighting some numbers showing a drop in the number of migrant encounters in Texas, while there's an increase in parts of Arizona and California. Joining us now is our very own Ryan Chandler to give us a little insight. Okay, so you are going to break down the numbers. What are we seeing?
We're seeing dramatic decreases across the board. When you compare December to January, we saw about 300,000 migrant encounters in December. That dropped to just 176 in January. So numbers down across every state, but especially in Texas. There's really eye-popping numbers in the Del Rio sector. That's what you're looking at right there. This is the Eagle Pass area that has become the center of Operation Lone Star. And we see that in December, Eagle Pass Border Patrol agents were encountering about 2,300 migrants a day. Last month, that was down to just as low as 200 sometimes. El Paso is also down 51% in the last 3 months of last year compared to the same period in 2022. Laredo's down 42%, RGV down 18%. Meanwhile, we're seeing that all those people are going to Arizona and California. We see huge spikes there. They're shouldering about 60% of the migrant encounters nowadays.
Okay, so after seeing record migration though, Ryan, why are we seeing this steep drop?
Well, Governor Abbott credits it to Operation Lone Star. He will characterize this as cartels not wanting to come to the increased enforcement that we have on our Texas borders. Other officials will give you different answers, and to be sure, it's very difficult to put one explanation to these very complex migration trends. It could be seasonal. The White House actually points to progress they made with the Mexican government after a December meeting. They got Mexico to increase their own enforcement, and they're actually making it harder for migrants to travel through Mexico to the U.S. border. So the likely truth is somewhere in the middle. It's a combination of a bunch of factors, and these things go up and down. I'm sure we'll see them go up again sometime soon.
Okay, so even with migration down, we know the politics really surrounding the border. As you know, you covered extensively, it's really heating up. So another major battle with the federal government is happening this week.
We're seeing another court showdown between Texas and the United States in court this Thursday over Senate Bill 4. That's the novel new law that gives Texas broad authority to enforce federal immigration law on our own. This is very controversial because federal immigration law is just that, federal law, and state troopers, local police have no right or business to enforce it themselves. That's what the federal government is arguing. But this would give Texas troopers the ability to arrest and effectively deport any migrants that come into Texas without having to deal with Border Patrol at all. Governor Abbott says we need to do that because Border Patrol is not doing their job. But the Biden administration is saying this is messing with our business and you're stepping on our toes here. So we're going to see the first real challenge to that in court some civil rights groups are suing the state, worrying that could harm some migrants' rights and overstep federal authority. We'll see how that plays out on Thursday.
Okay, so you heard all that. A few things here to dissect from this. First of all you civil rights groups can go kick freaking rocks, okay? Because you don't care about the civil rights of Americans that are going out right now, the civil rights of the Americans that are being violated by all these illegals that are coming in, starting gangs, okay, and causing crime. You don't care about the American civil rights, so why in the hell should we care about any illegals trying to cross the border? That's number one. So if you ask me, you guys suck. Plain and simple. I'll just say it. I am so damn sick and tired, okay, of watching the news and watching all this crime being committed by all these illegals that are coming in, and yet the Biden regime, civil rights groups, religious groups, everybody and their mother, okay, is ignoring the fact of what a lot of these illegals are doing, not to mention how many women and children are being hurt and or killed, okay, in the journey trying to get here. Number one, how many illegals are out on the street, how many illegals are turning to crime because the promises that were made to them, of course, didn't come through. I mean, why would the Democrats promise them anything if they don't even promise their own constituents anything? So this whole thing is a damn mess, okay? That's what I got. There's a lot more I want to say, but that's what I'm going to say about just that right there in particular. Another thing, I've said it before. The reason why the election in Arizona needed to be stolen was for this purpose, where they knew that if Governor Abbott has shut down Texas, someone else in Arizona would have helped them with that. Okay, but nope. They had to get one of their own goons in there to make sure that Arizona was going to stay open for business, and that's what's going on. So, like you heard, the cartels don't want to deal with with law enforcement in Texas. They're finding other ways, to get through Arizona and California, which, in my opinion, that's why a certain person is the governor of Arizona right now, and we all know who the governor is of California. So, with that being said, let's move on to the next one. Okay. Now, when the whole trucker convoy wanted to go down to Texas, okay, they did get there, and the place was getting cleaned up rapidly, okay, and that was because of what Governor Abbott was doing starting in early January, okay, because they were fed up with all the illegals coming through. Now, this is the gripe that I have with some liberal content creators. They started mocking, okay, the people that were going down in that trucker convoy because they were saying, oh, well, look, there's nothing happening here, making it seem as if it was all a farce by Governor Abbott and that there was no illegals coming through. To all you content creators out there, if you think that you're doing not only just Americans a service, you're also doing the illegals a disservice at the same time, and I'll tell you why. Because if you're ignoring the fact that the reason why it slowed down so much was because of what Governor Abbott did, and you want to mock people on the right, just remember, you are part of the problem every single time a woman or a child gets kidnapped, never to be seen again, gets raped, okay, gets brutally harmed, is in servitude to the cartels to pay up money, and all that bad stuff that goes on with what's going on at the border. You're part of the damn problem too. Because not only are you lying, you are viciously lying. Okay? And you are viciously mocking this situation as if people on the right are so damn crazy. You people are the ones that are so damn crazy if you're 100% for what's going on. Okay? You have no morals and no scruples. And it's two liberal content creators in particularly, okay, that I'm talking about. And I think it's sickening that you have such a major platform and you feed these lies and you spew this venom. And to think of how many people are on your platform watching your channel and are going along with it. Okay? People are literally being killed. And it doesn't matter if they're American or illegal. People are being killed. And you're mocking this situation? You know, these social media platforms are meant to help people understand what is going on. Okay? On a different level. On a level that people could understand more. And on a level where they know that the mainstream media is not going to tarnish the truth. And yet, instead of you taking these situations seriously, no, you rather mock. You're not mocking people on the right. You're mocking the people that have suffered and have died in this whole situation. And it has nothing to do with Governor Abbott wanting to shut down the border. But we'll move on to the next one. Just so everybody thinks, I should say, just so everybody doesn't think that the situation has gotten better, which at the border, it's getting a little better. But as far as everyone else that got in and the ones that are still getting in, let's go to the next news clip. Here we go. This was 20 hours ago, put out by the New York Post. Pay attention.
So we've seen a spate of some very brazen cell phone robberies in New York City that's been attributed to a Venezuelan gang called Tren de Aragua, which has its origins at a prison outside of Caracas. A number of the gang members escaped in September 2023 when the Venezuelan government raided the prison. And a lot of them have come over within this surge of migrants from Venezuela into the United States. In the last fiscal year, there have been like 340,000 encounters at the U.S. southern border with Venezuelan migrants. Among those, Border Patrol has apprehended 41 Tren de Aragua gang members. Law enforcement.
Okay, I'm going to stop it real quick. It's a short clip. First of all, she said in the past year, it was 340,000. No, December alone was over 300,000. Everybody keeps talking about it, but I'll digress on that and what she's saying. What I want people to understand and to listen to what she said about the Venezuelans. Okay? Now, all you've been hearing this past year is about the groups of Venezuelan people in Chicago and in New York committing crimes. Okay? This is not by a leftist, by a right-wing newspaper. This is by the New York Post, people. Okay? By the New York Post. And once again, you have all these people on the left, okay? All these liberal media outlets trying to, once again, put lipstick on this pig. And yet they're not seeing what's going on. People being attacked, people being hurt, robbed, raped, murdered. You name it. It's happening. Okay? Not to mention all the drugs. Just whatever criminally minded thing a criminal can do, that's what they're doing. So don't fool yourselves. But let's continue.
It says they are infiltrating cities in the United States and maybe forming alliances with gangs that are already established here. We're seeing the presence of Tren de Aragua in New York City. We're seeing all these brazen cell phone robberies where two guys on a moped will go onto a sidewalk in Manhattan and they will steal a cell phone out of the hands of somebody who's actually talking on the phone. This is important because if you're talking on the phone, your phone is open. So the guy on the back of the scooter just keeps tapping the phone so that all of your apps are open. And then they take it back to a gang leader in the Bronx where, a hacker goes through and drains people's bank accounts. The phones are then bundled up and sent to Colombia where they're resold. So it's suddenly a big mess.
Okay, you heard that. You see what they're doing with the phones. Okay? In this day and age, that's what people do, walking up and down the street with their phones. They're not paying attention. Especially when it's winter right now, people, you have all this extra sound around you. You're not paying attention to your surroundings. You're trying to stay bundled up. You're holding your phone. You need to be aware. Okay? My advice, if they're doing this the way they're saying, okay, the way they're snatching people's phones and they're keeping the phones on until they reach a certain point where they can ping into it, I think that if they want to start cracking down on these people, I think the cops, and I'm not telling cops how to do their job, but they probably should set out some traps out there where people are walking around with their phones that are already bugged and tapped. So when it is stolen out of their hands, they can trace those bastards down. Okay, just my opinion. I don't know. Maybe they're already doing that. Who knows? Like I said, I'm not a cop, detective, nothing like that. But I tell you what, people are going to have to start fighting back on this. And I don't advocate violence for anything. But what I mean is there's other ways to fight back and stop this. Okay? So this is one of the reasons why Donald Trump once again had it right when he said close the border down from the get. He knew what these countries in South America, what they were going to be doing. They were going to be emptying out the worst of the worst. Okay? And if you think for a hot minute that whole uprising, like they said in Venezuela back in 2023, and a bunch of gang members were able to escape prison and get away, I'm not going to believe that for one hot minute. Plain and simple. I'm definitely not. Okay? And the reason being is because, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand the mindset of certain politicians that are like, you know what? We're fed up with taking care of these criminals. How do we trade them? What do we do? Now, they said in the last news report that Biden went to Mexico and did whatever deals that Mexico decided to put more troops on the border. I'd like to know what that deal was. I really would like to know what that deal was. But again, I'll digress on that. The next clip I'm going to show you is for people to understand that unless all these woke DAs, judges, politicians start putting their foot down, and I'm not going to say that they're never going to understand the mind of a criminal. No, they understand completely. They're not going to put a stop to the crime. And in my opinion, they don't want to put a stop to the crime. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. Here we go.
We're going to begin with another arrest in the beating of two NYPD officers in Times Square.
And one of the suspects already charged in the case is facing more legal trouble. Let's get straight down to Stephanie Bertini, who's outside criminal court in Lower Manhattan. Stephanie, what's the latest?
So one of them, who we don't know his name, but we do know he's 17 years old and a non-citizen, is expected in court today. He is one of several held responsible, according to the NYPD, for that attack on two cops in Times Square. The incident happened back in January on 42nd Street, close to 7th Avenue. This is surveillance video from that incident. Now, of course, several people have been arrested already in this high-profile case, including this man. He was arrested in the Times Square attack on cops, and now he's in trouble with law enforcement again in a separate incident. Darwin Gomez Ezekiel was just arrested in Queens. Police say he and three others are responsible for a robbery at a Macy's. The NYPD is still looking for the other three in connection to this robbery. Investigators say they took merchandise without paying and then assaulted a store security guard at the store when they were confronted. The incident happened yesterday, according to the NYPD. Now, the Times Square incident is still an active investigation. The Manhattan District Attorney was criticized for his handling of the case, you'll remember. After the incident, he released several of those responsible without bail. He had said it was due to a lack of evidence, but is pursuing justice. And as we're seeing in court today, investigators and leaders in New York City are not taking that assault on cops lightly. We will continue to follow this development.
Yeah, they're going to continue to follow it. But there you go, people. You see, when you have woke district attorneys say, oh, we didn't have enough evidence, and you let them go, what did he do? Went and committed more crime. Okay? Went and committed more crime. So what happens now? The clip I showed you before about how a lot of these people are coming here and they're going to join gangs. They're going to do that. You know why? There's a few reasons why. One, because they're criminally minded. Okay, first and foremost. First and last. Everything in between is secondary. Number two, they're not being coddled the way they were promised that they were going to be coddled by the Biden regime. Okay? And the leftists and everybody else that says, oh no, it's okay, open up the borders. They're human. Well, what about the people that they're terrorizing? They're human too. Don't they have any civil rights? And I'm very, very, very surprised that the NAACP and all these civil rights activist groups are not fighting for the civil rights of Americans that are being terrorized by all these illegal gang members. And can one or two of them be getting into it all of a sudden because they're desperate? It's a possibility, but once again, I have to say I highly doubt that. I truly do. Okay? So you left the borders wide open, you're letting them come in, you're giving them money, you're giving them housing, you're giving them food, you're giving them free education, you're giving them free healthcare, you're giving them all this. They're not satisfied. They're not. They just want to act a fool as if, you know what, things ain't that good. But yet, Americans are doing without. Okay? They're doing without. And why? Because they're giving everything to the illegals. They're taking all the taxpayer money, giving it to the illegals, and that's not good enough. Once again, this is why Trump was right. To make sure to keep the border closed and to vet people at ports of entry to find out who is who. But that's not good enough. It's not good enough to the mainstream media. It's not good enough to the woke politicians, to the people in charge. It's not good enough to the woke president, to the woke administration. It's not good to the woke content creators. No, none of that is good enough. So they just rather lie about everything. And unless something happens to them by one of these criminals, maybe they'll say something. Or maybe they'll just tuck tail and be like, no, we'll just ignore it. Because we care about them more than we care about America. It's disgusting, man. It's totally disgusting. It's disgusting. It's wrong. And this is not the American way. It's just not. But you know what? The powers that be, all these people on the left that are for this, not the ones that are opening up their eyes and walking away, the ones that are still in for this, this is all on you. This is what you voted for. And in my eyes, you're not an American. Plain and simple. Okay? But anyway, that's what I got for you. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe. Pass it around. Give it a thumbs up. If you want to help support the channel, I'll leave a link in my description to my Cash App and PayPal. And a link to my merch store, TrueOutlawPatriot.com. Get a patriotic shirt. There's only one design for now, like I said, but more coming. Wear it proud. And remember, people, watch what you're doing out there. Okay, especially in my hometown of New York. I mean, trust me, I know my people in New York can handle themselves, but you don't know who's coming across that border, man. Same thing goes in Chicago. You know, California. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that are fed up, but it just seems like me personally, I think there's no hope unless they really stand strong. Okay? I mean, the Democrats have done this. They did this. In all the blue cities, all the blue states, they're the ones doing this. Okay? And these illegals that are coming over committing crimes, they need to get their asses, like, put in a giant slingshot and just slingshot their asses back over the border. Because this is not the way to live in America, or in any country for that matter. So remember, stay vigilant, keep praying for each other, and keep praying for this country. Peace.